If you're watching this video right now, that means you're probably in a situation where you're putting in a lot of effort and you're not getting much in return. Or maybe you're in a situation where you're realizing you're not putting in enough effort, which we'll get to in a little bit, and still nothing is happening. Meaning you're doing all this stuff, but women are still not talking to you. You're not getting responses. You're getting flaked on. It's not working. So I get it. You're out there. You're on dating apps. You're swiping. You're sending messages. You're going out. You're talking to women. You're going to events. You're going to parties. Maybe you're doing some cold approaching on the weekends, talking to women wherever. You're putting in the effort, but still, you can't get a response. Maybe you're getting their numbers and they're just not responding to you. They're ghosting you. They're not even texting you back, or maybe they won't even give you the time of day when you go up and try to start a conversation. Women are looking at you weird and you're feeling down, you're feeling low, you're feeling like a freak, you're feeling ugly, you're feeling worthless, you're at this low point. I get it. I know where you're at. Story time. I remember when I was first learning how to meet and attract women, I remember going out and having a lot of very rough days. I tell this story quite a bit, but I'm going to tell it again in a different way. Tell the story of how I first went out, and I remember the first night I ever went out, it took me 3 hours to get the courage to say hello to a person. Actually, I take that back. That was the second night I went out. The first night I went out, nothing happened. The second night I went out, for 3 hours, finally I said hi to a girl, and I was so nervous I just kept walking past her because I was not used to talking to women or talking to anyone that I didn't already know. I had very bad social anxiety and bad approach anxiety. And so I remember having that second night and I was like, whoa, it felt good. Like I did a little bit better than yesterday. So that was my new goal, was I'm just gonna try to keep going and do a little bit better than yesterday. Because I know logically, if I do a little bit better than yesterday, that means I'm improving every single day. And that means in a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, if I keep up with that, I will be in a rock star position because I'll be further than I was when I first started. So that was my mentality here. So I'm going out, and I remember now I'm going out a little bit more frequently to practice approaching and talking to women, getting over the fear, learning attraction. And I had so many ups and downs, right? Nights where it was really fun and I just felt more carefree, not because of alcohol, just because I was having a good time, enjoying myself, talking to women. Maybe I'd get a number, maybe not. And then I'd have another night where I'd go out and for some reason, all that fear rushed back inside of me. And I was back to barely talking to any women, or maybe I would try and I'd get rejected, or nights where I'd go out and just get rejected all the time. So I went this whole crazy up and down process to get to the point where eventually I got over the fear, or at least I still had the fear, but I was able to push it aside and not let it get the best of me and still go and approach women and be more fearless, be more courageous, and just be a more charismatic, fun, interesting version of myself, like an upgrade of myself. Boy, did this take a long time. Could have taken longer if I didn't put all the effort that I put into it. You know, I was going out anywhere from 5 to 6 nights per week for a few years, and in that 2-year period, sometimes I was going out every single day or every single night, meaning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going out every night, Saturday going out during the day, Saturday night going out, Sunday going out during the day, Sunday night going out. So imagine how many man hours I'm putting into this, going out and practicing talking to women. So of course, a lot of rough times, a lot of good times, but I put a lot of effort into it. Now here's the good news. Someone might be thinking either A, that's bullshit, they don't believe it, that's fine, it is absolutely true. But more importantly, B, you might be thinking, oh man, like I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work. Like I can't even do that. Like I have a job, I have school, I have other responsibilities. There's no way I can go out every single night for a week, let alone 3 weeks. Good news is that's fine. You don't need to do that to improve with this, okay? If you want to be a dating coach like myself, maybe, because you got to get to those extreme levels to get to the point where you know it so well that you can make videos like this and just talk about it effortlessly. My guess is you're probably not that person. You just want to get some results. You want to get girls talking to you. You want to get this going. Great. You don't need to do that much. However, you do need to do at least half of that if you want results. If you want quicker results, you can go out every night if you wanted to and practice this stuff. It depends how much work you put in terms of what you get out. So that's one of the first things you have to understand. This whole video is not going to be just me pushing you and telling you hard work, hard work, hard work. I have some practical things to tell you, but you still have to understand that even though you're at a very low point where it's not working for you, you can't give up. I bet you that most of the people watching this video, that's including you right now, you've probably not really given it a fair shot. A really fair shot of going out and putting in the hours. Just because you go out and once in a while talk to one girl and she's not responding to you, that doesn't mean that this is game over for you. You are way, 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 way farther away from that point. You need to have way more data. You need to be going out a lot. You need to be talking to a lot of women to even get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna give up. And the good news is most people who do put in that effort, do put in the hard work, do implement the strategies and techniques that I talk about on these videos, end up seeing results. So you're probably not putting in enough work to get the correct data. So you're just thinking, I suck. Why can't girls talk to me? Why isn't this working? So you're really looking at this with a wrong viewpoint, a false perspective. Here's another story about an actual client of mine that I was working with back in around 2013. So I was working with this guy. We were working together hands-on hardcore for a full month. We were going out probably around 4 days a week, going out approaching women. A lot of it was during the day, sometimes at night as well. This was a struggle, okay? This was a struggle. This guy was going out, he was putting in a lot of effort, and it just wasn't working for him. Girls were not responding to him. Sometimes they would, maybe he'd get a number, and then it just wouldn't work out. And he was getting better. So let's say working together for a month, by about third week, it was getting a lot better and he was starting to see more results, but he's still getting really beaten up here. He's just like, I don't get it, Tripp. Like, we're doing a lot of work here. Like, I'm not seeing the kind of results that I wanted. He's like, maybe I should just give up. This is a true story. We're sitting down. I remember we're in Los Angeles. We're at the Grove. We're sitting down, taking a break from approaching. He looks at me and he goes, dude, like, I think I'm going to just give up here. You've done a great job. Thank you for your help. This is not working for me. I think I should try to find a matchmaker and just do it that way and just, try to put something together and not force this by doing all this approaching. I go, listen, man, I get it. I get where you're at. This has been a struggle, but this is the process. This is the work. For some guys, it happens a lot sooner. For some guys, it takes even longer. Give it another shot. I said, just give me, a few more hours of your hardest effort. Let's just go out. Let's talk to some more girls. Let's just see what happens. Can you do that for me? So he said, okay, like, let's do it. He wasn't like, all right, let's do it. He was just kind of like half like, okay, like, whatever, what else do I have to lose here? I guess let's just keep going. I said, let's just keep going. We can revisit this matchmaker, whatever situation we need to find ourselves in later. Let's just keep going. So we keep going. I kid you not, true story. The next girl that he approached, who was super cute, they ended up talking. They talked for about 15 minutes, which was a very hard place for him to get to because starting a conversation with a girl out of nowhere and getting her to respond and then talk to her for 15 minutes is not an easy feat, but we've been practicing that. He gets to that point. He gets her number. He ends up taking her on a date 3 days later, and then she ends up becoming his girlfriend. Okay, so again, this guy, all the hard work, at his lowest point, he finally got a result that was worth continuing, right? So, end of that story. They ended up dating for a couple of years, on and off. Didn't end up working out, but that's not the point. The point is that right before he was about to quit, right before, he ended up seeing a really great result. Now, of course, odds are if we didn't go to that mall that day, it probably wouldn't have happened for him. But still, my point to you is that even though you're putting in the hard work, even if you're not seeing the results giving up is not going to do anything, okay? You're going to have to just change your ways a little bit. Things are going to have to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Well, you can't do that. So what you need to do is you kind of need to coach yourself through this process. I always say the best way to self-coach yourself, if you can't get an actual coach to look at you and figure out what's going on or dissect what's happening, is to experiment and try different things. So if you're going out and you're trying to talk to women, and you are doing it at a decent level, meaning you're going out a lot, talking to a lot of women, it's not working out, you might be doing the same thing over and over, right? So you're doing the same thing over and over, you're expecting something to change, it won't, so you need to change something up. So you need to change maybe the way that you're talking to them, maybe you need to change the topics of conversation, maybe you need to change the way that you're looking at them, the way that you're presenting yourself. It's kind of infinite. There's a lot of different things that you might need to change, but it's okay. You test it out. If you want some of the core things that are the most important that you can test out for yourself and self-coach, check out the Hooked program. That's a course that I put together that teaches you all the different things that you need to know, the most important things to get results and to get women to respond to you when you're talking to them. That's at getherhooked.com. There's a link in the description below. That's going to teach you everything you need to know to be able to go up to a woman, start a conversation, attract her, get her invested in you, and then end up either in a relationship or just a casual sexual relationship. So everything is at getherhooked.com. Or you can watch these videos, you can learn some stuff from my podcast, and test different things out, okay? So point being, don't give up. There's so much more room for you. They always say, or there's this one special saying that says, it's always the darkest before the dawn, which means that at your very lowest point, at the very lowest point, the worst point that you're at, if you just wait a little bit longer, then things start to brighten up. Then you can start to see some better results. But unfortunately, it's not going to just happen to you. You have to be proactive. I want to give you a little tip that you can use today that most guys are probably not doing, and I can guarantee you're not doing in your interactions with women, whether on dates or if you're going out and approaching and meeting women. And that is the concept of entertainment. I talk about this in the Hooked program, by the way, and it's part of my system. And entertainment is this one aspect where when you're going out and talking to women, you want to entertain yourself. You want to talk about the things that are interesting to you. You want to make the jokes that are funny to you. You want to be having a good time in the interaction. Why I'm saying that most guys don't do this and you're probably not doing this is because it's very counterintuitive. You think, and I used to think this by the way as well, is you want to go up and impress a woman. It's all about impressing her, getting her to respond and like you and like the interaction. What happens here is when you do that, you're really being a little bit more needy, you're chasing a little bit more, you're trying too hard, which then in turn becomes unattractive and very predictable and like every other guy who's ever approached her. Most guys don't take the counterintuitive approach, which is what I'm talking about here, entertainment. Again, entertaining yourself, not her, okay? I want to be clear on this. Guys mess this up, and I get it because they're thinking one way and I'm trying to flip the switch in your brain. Entertaining yourself. What can you do to make this process fun for you? What are the things that you can talk about in the interaction with throwing out the idea of it working? Like guys are like, no, I got to say the things that she's going to like or else she's going to reject me. I got to make sure she's having fun and she likes the interaction or she's going to reject me. Why don't we just test this out? Throw that whole thing out the window. Instead, what can you say, what can you do in the interaction that makes it interesting to you? Is there something you watched? Is there something you read? Is there something of a joke that you have with a friend? Is there something funny that you saw lately? What is it that makes you have a good time? What are you talking to your friends about? Really think about this. I could give you a lot of specific examples, but I don't want you to copy and paste. I want you to think about what it is and how it applies to you. I know I'm giving you that extra little work to do, but it's going to help you in the long run so your conversations are more natural and less scripted, and then you're going to really see better results because she's going to be connecting with you and not some false version of you. So take this concept and use this in your interactions, okay? If you're not getting a woman to respond to you, if they're not talking to you, if they're not taking you seriously, try the concept of entertainment. Now, I'm not really trying to say this to you as optional. If you get my Hooked program, you'll see that this is one of the core principles of attraction. If you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not entertaining yourself, it's going to be very difficult for a woman to be attracted to you because you're going to be taking things too seriously, and she's just going to see this guy who's really trying so hard and doesn't have a life of his own. When a guy is confident, when a guy is sure of himself, and he's really speaking to a girl on that level, it's usually because he's carefree. That's what it looks like to be confident. So when you're portraying this entertainment aspect, when you're entertaining yourself, this is exactly that. Carefree, having a good time, not caring about her response, not caring what people think about you. This is the ultimate confident person who doesn't give a shit. He's living his life, he's doing what he wants, he's on his path, he's on his purpose, he's having a good time. This is attractive energy. This is what women want to be around. This is what women are attracted to. This is it. I give you more information on how to do this in the Hooked program, which again is at getherhooked.com. And you're going to learn all about that principle, plus my other two principles, tension and dominance. And then how do you go through the circle of doing tension, entertainment, and dominance, tension, entertainment, and dominance, working all those together to create mind-blowing attraction with women and getting them invested in you. And here's the thing. We combine all of this right here with this other part, okay, which is getting a lot of leads into the funnel. So a lot of guys, and this is connected to what I was saying in the very beginning of the video, aren't going out and talking to enough women. They're talking to maybe one woman or going on one date every couple weeks, and they're going, boo-hoo, it's not working out, and they're not really putting all the effort into it. So understand this. You need a lot of leads. This is a little bit of a game. It's a numbers game. There's a lot of women you're going to have to talk to, a lot of rejections you're going to have to face, a lot of bad dates, a lot of rough interactions, a lot of the emotions of potential embarrassment. Not saying that you're going to get embarrassed, but you're going to feel embarrassed because this is just tough to go out and talk to strangers. You're going to have to go through all that and sift through a lot of different women to get better. So let's not look at that negatively. I know that I painted a terrible picture for you, but let's look at it in terms of reality. Like, okay, no big deal. I got to go out. I got to go on a lot of dates. I got to talk to a lot of women. I got to talk to strangers. I got to go to events. I got to do all this stuff. It's just part of it. But if I go through it, I will end up getting better. But you need a lot of women to talk to so you get to that point. So don't think that one girl every couple weeks is going to be enough. I hope I made my point here. I hope I've encouraged you and not set you back at all, but gave you the reality of it and then gave you what you need to do to start getting results in this area. So don't give up. Keep pushing yourself. If you need that assistance, go to getherhooked.com. Description below has the link, and I hope that helps.